So today we're going to be talking about our journeys in UX, and we'll be discussing different paths, different skill sets of opportunities taken by Redgaters, Redgate designers and interns this time in particular, which is so exciting. And if you're currently studying or you sort of want to make that transition into the whole wide world of UX, then we hope this gives you, I guess, a realistic perspective of how you can pursue that journey or begin to pursue that journey. So in our panel today, we've got product designers, so we've got Callum and Mandar, which we'll sort of give everyone a chance in a minute to introduce themselves. And then we've also got Jingyi and Zhang with us, who are currently interning. So I guess now we've kind of just said a bit about who we are and whatnot, I think our panelists are going to take it in turns to kind of introduce themselves and share a bit about their journeys. And then after that, just so you know how this is going to run, we're going to open it up for a discussion and sort of Q&A. So please, all the Zoom controls disappear when I share my screen, but I can find the chat box. So please feel free to like share any questions in the chat box, and we'll sort of go through these. Alternatively, if you're feeling brave enough, feel free to sort of unmute yourself and just ask any of our panelists some questions. I think what's great about this is we're kind of like all on one big Zoom call, so we can just everyone can chip in as and when. And yeah, I will kind of address the questions as we go. So yeah, if that's all good, is there any kind of questions about how this is going to run at this point? Don't think so. Can't see everyone's faces. Anyway, what I can do is I'll hand it over to Callum. He can kick things off and just give a little introduction about himself and how he got to UX.
Cool. Thanks, Elle. Yeah, lovely to meet all of you virtually, and thanks for coming along. I'm really glad to see you all here. So yeah, I'm Callum. I'm a product designer at Redgate. I've been at Redgate for about 2 years. And I work on our data protection software called SQL Data Catalog. Over the past 2 years, I've worked not only on that, I've worked on some other tools. I've also worked on our design system and have contributed to other initiatives within the business, such as our internal design academy. Prior to that, I studied at Norwich University of the Arts on a course called Graphic Communication. Which was a degree similar to graphic design. However, it had a bit more of an agenda to it in the sense that we focus on things such as design for good, and we done projects ranging from sort of packaging to branding and identity design, through to more conceptual projects. Really great time at the course. I suppose just a little bit about me, or extra details about me. So, although I'm a product designer, I'm particularly interested in sort of the interaction design side of the role, and design systems. So I work also on Redgate's internal design system, Honeycomb, and over the past 2 years have helped to kind of update our design tooling, make a start on updating our design guidelines, and really just empowering teams to build more cohesive products faster. That's a quick overview. I suppose I'll pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, it's Mandar. I'm also going to stop sharing my screen because that would be better so you can see all your faces. There we go.
Thank you, Eleanor. And hi, welcome everyone. My name is Mandar, and I've recently joined Redgate about 2 months ago now. And I was an intern here last year as well. And currently I'm working on a team for SQL Monitor, which is one of Redgate's biggest products. I have recently graduated. So I graduated just about 4 weeks ago from the University of Dundee. And I did my undergraduate degree in applied computing, which is, I want to say 75% computing and about 25% design. And that has really helped me move into UX and into a software company, because I feel like I can bridge the gap between computing and design and understand all the various technical things that are happening throughout my team, and then help them understand like the design process and how people see the product from a user's perspective. And I feel like that has really helped me settle in so far. I was an intern here last year, and I loved it so much that I decided to come back. And they offered me a job as well, so that's important as well. It's not just I've just come back. But yeah, I've always had an interest in building software by thinking of the users in mind, and my university really encourages that, supports that. Anytime we would asked to do any coursework, we were asked to think of the users first, and carrying that approach into Redgate has been a dream because Redgate thinks the same way. And yeah, it has been a pretty easy transition, a fun transition. I get to work with a lot of cool people, and yeah, it's all exciting. I think I'll pass it next is Jack. Yeah, Jack, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure, I can go. Hello everyone, my name is Jack Rodger. I am Scottish, I'm from Dundee, where I just recently graduated as well, along with Mandar and the wonderful Jingyi. So I was at the art and design school, studying digital interaction design for the last 4 years, which is a blend of kind of computing, product design, interior design, and we're known as social digital within that. It's a really fun course. I met a lot of cool people, and there's some familiar faces that I see today. So shout out to Finn, Robert, I think, and of course Ewan. I think she's here from my class, so it's lovely to see your names again. But yeah, it was a great 4 years. I learned a lot about, you know, UX design, UI, interaction, mainly people skills. I think collaboration, super important for the last 4 years. Before that, prior to university, I used to work in construction. I kind of have a weird career path so far, where I spent kind of left school, not knowing what I was going to do, did a year at college, kind of just faffing about, and then landed on my feet a bit with this apprenticeship in drafting, which is very design orientated. But I spent 6 or 7 years there, working in a local steel fabricator. Absolutely loved it, had a great time. But then I got to a certain age and I was like, maybe want to start exploring more. So I kind of searched the field and found out about interaction design and UX design and thought that's for me. So yeah, hope today's going to be of some use for you guys. Feel free to reach out at any point, and I will pass on to my wonderful ex-classmate, Jingyi.
Thank you, Jack. Hello, everyone. I'm Jingyi. Like Jack said, we're classmates. I was studying digital interaction design from University of Dundee, and we just graduated this year. So now I'm a product design intern at Redgate, and I work quite closely alongside my manager, Divya, with the Honeybees team. So we're responsible for SQL prompt. Yeah, we got a really fancy team name, which is the Honeybees. I love that name. And yeah, I think Jack covered quite a lot about our course. So that is a very UX-centric course. And I've learned all necessary UX and UI design skills there. And also, I think from the course, we got some collaboration opportunities with the product design students and also other students, other computing students, which is amazing. And so prior to this internship, I did another internship before joining Redgate, and I did majority of design system stuff and my previous internship, which really helped me settle in the work, what I've been doing at Redgate. And also, I think I've learned quite a lot at Redgate and meet all amazing designers. So yeah, that's from me. Thank you.
That's everyone, isn't it? All 4 of you. Go on and get some nods. Okay, that's good. I'm not missing anyone out. Yeah, I suppose at this point, there's no questions in the chat at the moment, so now is your chance. But we'll probably begin to move this onto the Q&A part of the session. So I guess what I could do is I could kick off with questions. So to get the ball rolling, all of you are or have been or are currently interns at Redgate. So what sort of things would you recommend looking for in internships, and why? Just for those on the call that kind of are trying to source internships, might not be knowing like what you feel would make a good internship. Who'd like to start with that question? Callum, maybe?
Yeah, I can answer. Yeah, so I think the most important thing on any internship is to look for somewhere that will invest in mentoring you. I've got a mobile phone going off. Ooh, there we go, it weren't mine. No, just to look for a company where they will genuinely invest in mentoring you, not just kind of make you do, I hate to say the term, but the intern tasks, just running around doing the things that they don't want to do. Look for a company that they give you kind of good projects, chunky projects to work on. Yeah, I've probably got more things to say, but I want to let someone else talk. Don't want to dominate the conversation.
Just well, you say look for companies that are going to give you a good task. How do you spot that when you're doing your applications and interviews and everything? How can you tell what you're going into?
Yeah, I would say reach out to the designers at the company. Use something like LinkedIn if you're on Twitter. I don't think there's anything wrong with sort of showing interest in the role and maybe taking a look on LinkedIn to find who members are of that design team and reach out to them directly with some questions about what kind of mentoring opportunities will there be on that internship. Yeah, I would just start there and ask questions, ask thoughtful questions. Not too many, don't want to fire too many over at once, but just really engage with the people working there and go from there. Really, just get a conversation going. I'd say. I think that's one way of approaching it. Yeah.
Can I just add to that? I think reading experiences of previous interns helps as well. I think when I was applying for Redgate, I read a blog by Callum, who was the intern before me. So I think that really helped me understand how it's going to be, and yeah, made my choice a lot more easier.
We were always taught from our lecturers to look out for internships that were paid as well and only apply for them. I think that's kind of a red flag if a company's just talking about what you mentioned there, Callum. If they're willing to invest in you, then it's much more worth your time than a company, say, taking advantage of your time and just getting rubbish work out, both ends. So that was always something we were taught to look out for, and it's helped me kind of keep an eye out.
Just adding to what Jack said, I think it's really nice just to look into the company website, looking for if they have got any section for the company culture, because I think culture is part of your work experience. That's just a really important thing, especially as an intern. This is your first work experience, so you want to get most of from there. Yeah, so company culture is definitely one of the things that you want to look at.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jingyi. That stood out to me actually about Redgate and the whole sort of idea of psychological safety and feeling like it's okay to make mistakes whilst you're learning. But anyway, I think we've got some questions in the chat actually, and actually Jack or Jingyi, it would be pretty good if you could pick this one up. So there's a question here around how long the internship is at Redgate. I thought since you're on it at the moment, you can talk to us about it, and also a bit about how it's structured and what a day-to-day might look like. Would one of you like to go?
Yeah, no problem. So it's 10 weeks altogether. I think we're both just past the halfway mark, which is mad because it's absolutely flying in. It's been great so far. I've been lucky enough to get down and be in the office, as you can tell. There's some wonderful jellyfish on this mural beside me. So it's it's a great chance to come down. Day-to-day life. Yeah, it's kind of Monday to Friday. Come in the morning, get some breakfast, catch up with people. You have your sort of stand up in the morning with your team, and then you go about your day, kind of go through designated tasks. At the end of the day, you have a kind of retro and catch up again. But yeah, it's been really good. The kind of overall structure of it, like the first couple of weeks were quite on, like kind of, you know, getting used to the systems and people and introductions and such. And then I've been started on a kind of personal project for the last kind of 4 or 5, well, a few weeks. I've got a couple more weeks to go. And then I think the last couple of weeks will involve a sort of kind of, we've got down tool weeks as well, which is really fun. And yeah, I'll be writing up like a case study and doing like maybe a talk on our presentation. But yeah, I'm sure, Jingyi, you've got a kind of different experience to me. It'd be good to hear that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. So my internship, yeah, it's 10 weeks, like the same as what Jack said. So for the first 2 weeks, we're kind of just get ourselves familiarized with the products and the team members. So we got so many catch-ups with the team and also other designers. And yeah, so that was pretty fun. And also I got some design work and research work, doing them together with my manager. So it just provide me some opportunities to get my feet into the real stuff, real industry stuff. And then for the rest of my internship, I'll be working with another PM intern and doing an exploratory project together, which is more fun. And also we got our down tool week coming in a late August. So yeah, that should be quite exciting. So
on the note of that, Jingyi, there's also a question which you might be able to elaborate on, which is from Ellie, like how do you get the most out of, I guess all internships in general, right? Like not just the one specific to Redgate, but how do you try to get the most out of your time on an internship? Like what are some tips for that? And I guess this is open, so like all 4 of you, right? But it would be good just I guess some things that people could try and look out for or to make sure they do.
Yeah, sure. My suggestion would be to open up a file that it can be a just document or it can be a mural board or whatever you want. You can just doing some post-it notes on this to track what you've done in each week. So you kind of record what projects you've been working on and what comment and feedback you receive from other people and everything you feel deserve to record. You kind of just keep like a diary for your whole internship. You kind of break it down into 10 weeks because we only got 10 weeks. So you can track the everything in 1 week and then you can follow that up for each week. So I think that will be quite useful when you finish your internship and you can look back and then you can find out what you've done, like so many things in this internship. And then after that, you can do a retro yourself or with your manager to kind of reflect what you've done well, what you can improve a bit better in your future, maybe work or internship. So I think that would be quite useful.
Yeah. And I added some bits to that. I thought that's really good. I've done that myself back when I was interning. It is really helpful just to kind of be quite retrospective and just to kind of regularly think, with your time whilst you're there, what's going well, what could go better, and how can I go about actually acting upon that, whether that's over the next week or the next day. I think this is quite generic advice, but it is really important just to ask a lot of questions whilst you're on your internship. I think, well, for me, I remember sort of wanting to sort of do my best and do my best work. And at first, I was initially like, oh, can I, should I ask this question? Will I look silly if I ask this question? And had that doubt for like half a day until my intern manager was like, no, just ask questions, man. Just keep the questions coming. No questions, a silly question. And from that point onwards, things really did start to click when I was asking them. So yeah, just ask lots of questions, and I think that makes the whole experience a lot easier. Questions about your work, questions about the company's ways of working, the company itself. You're new to it, there's still lots to learn. But yeah, just really get into the habit of doing that. And then secondly, really trying to meet as many people as you can around the company. So you'll probably meet people who you work with immediately, whether that's designers or engineers. In Redgate's case, you'll as an design intern, you'll work with your engineers, designers, a project manager, and a technical lead within the product team that you're working in. But there's lots of product teams and there's lots of designers and engineers around the company, and they all know, they've all got different experiences and different interests. So it's really worth just, making an effort to get in touch with those outside of your team. And I think you can learn a lot from them, and it just makes, I think, the whole internship experience more enjoyable when you start to feel more comfortable with the people who you work with. So, and I think that's true even after the internship when you work as well. I think it's important to feel, comfortable with the people that you work with. So, I'd say for me, network with people. Anything to add?
It's a really good answer. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I guess kind of like you probably touched on this a bit, Callum, but there was a question in the middle of those actually that was, and this is quite a good one. It's like, what's the difference? I guess it's all going to be from our perspectives, right? But what's the difference between being an intern and being sort of in a junior UX position? And for me, I think this one like kind of depends on where you go, but I don't know if anyone wants to pick this one up to start with. If anyone's got any thoughts?
I can go since I've got the most recent experience of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So basically, when you're an intern, you're pretty much told what to do for the first few weeks, and then you have the opportunity to follow what you want. But when you're a junior, you're mostly expected to take responsibility of stuff right from the second or third week, and you're doing more things. So it's only been 2 months for me, and I've already done a lot more than I did in my internship. I'm planning research sessions, I'm planning customer calls, I'm planning how to analyze them, doing mock-ups, doing designs. So you're expected to pretty much do everything that a senior designer would do, just maybe not as quickly or not as deeply, but you're still expected to do everything which a senior designer does. Whereas in an internship, you're just told what to do and you're doing parts of it. As a junior, you're expected to take more ownership of things, look at things from an idea phase and try to like complete it towards the delivery phase, or like handing it off to the developers. You are expected to also communicate properly with everyone during each step and make sure that you're on the right track, and take responsibility of talking to the right people if you feel like you're going off track. So that is the biggest difference.
I'd echo that. I also think returning to the company full time, you have more time to work on projects. And so what you'll find is that your work starts to branch out from just kind of your core product team to work on wider design ops initiatives. So for example, things like our design system. That's not to say that you can't get involved in those projects during an internship, but sometimes you recommend that you'd focus on your core kind of project within the team, just to get kind of more exposure to different parts of the design and research process in that. But yeah, I found for me it was just having more time to get involved in wider design initiatives. But I think your point around autonomy, Mandar, is probably one of the most sort of key things that stood out to me from my internship, from my experience of transition from an intern to a junior, was just that you do have as much support as you do as an intern, but less direction, if you see what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're not necessarily told what to do, but you're still supported.
Yeah, you're supported, but you're also allowed to make a lot more decisions than you're expected as an intern. Like you have more control over things as well. So
yeah. think at the same time though, as an intern, hopefully this isn't the way, but doesn't feel like you're just told what to do. just wanna to say that Jack and I have been working together. Jack's as mentioned an intern. I've been at Redgate for about 2 years, and Jack's bringing great ideas to the table and is inspiring the team's work and new projects that we'll likely get around to working on. So just wanted to caveat that point. But generally, and I think it is true of most internships, is that you are given more direction, and that's just to give you so sort of a bit more focus when you're coming into a new company and you're experiencing a bunch of new things.
Yeah, really good answers. It's like making me think as well. I think this, as Jack or Jingyi, I don't want to interrupt if you're going to say something, or no? Good. Okay, cool. There's probably one here for Divya, so I might put Divya on the spot. But there's a question from Jessie that's kind of asking what sort of application process is for the internship, and I'm guessing that means the Redgate internship specifically, so we'll roll with that. But yeah, maybe Divya, if you could just outline that would be really useful.
Thanks, Eleanor. Definitely. So this year, myself and other designer who's not in the call, we both did the application process, and that's how we found the amazing Jack and Jingyi. So the application process kind of goes through 2 stages mainly. So it starts with your CV screening. So we look into the CV, we look into the degree, and the main thing is the portfolio. We review the portfolio, and if we like the application, we kind of progress it to the telescreen, which we call basically is a telephone conversation. It's going to be a short telephone conversation just to have a quick introduction of what they study, what their interests are, and if they go past that, there'll be a second stage interview, which was much longer than the telephone, the initial screening. And during the second stage, we also give them a little assignment to take away as well. And I'm assuming this is going to change hopefully next year. We're not entirely sure yet. So the second stage is kind of the main key stage, because we review the assignment. You might kind of even present the assignment to us, and we review that, and we kind of ask more detailed questions on everything that we went through the first stage. And then we like you and you're there. Thank you.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I hope that helps, Jessie, sort of outline to get an understanding of what it's like to apply for an internship at Redgate. I think there's another question here which is a really good one. These are all such good questions. But there's Monica here who has just started a UX design course, and it's going to last 9 months. I can't work out when that finishes, but the idea is when do you start looking and applying for internships? What's the right time whilst you're studying? And I guess as well, it would be good, because this is something I really struggle with, how do you balance both of those things, right? Because they're 2 really tiring activities. It's trying to finish your course or your degree or whatever, and trying to apply for internships and get that experience starting to build. So I don't know, Callum, I can see you nodding, I guess, if you can start if you want.
Okay, correct. So when to start looking for an internship? Straight away, I would say. I think if you just sort of keep your eyes peeled for internships and start just to look for the basic requirements of the internship and see those as things to work towards. Much like when you apply for a job, kind of the requirements to see if you've got the skills, and it sounds like something that you'd be interested in doing as well. You're investing your time in that opportunity. So I would just say sort of as soon as possible. I think it is good to always keep an eye on kind of this job postings cropping up, and just is also a good insight into what in general the industry is looking for in terms of skill sets. And they don't always they're not always specifically designed skill sets. They might also be things like soft skills as well. I guess I'd say always start be looking. And when it comes to applying, I would say when you've got a portfolio that you feel proud of, but at the same time, don't worry about perfecting the portfolio. It can be a big blocker to applying for jobs if you focus too much on trying to perfect the portfolio by comparing it to others that you see online or what you assume to be the ideal one. We might touch on this later on, but you know, ultimately a portfolio should just show, you know, how you think about design, and you know, ideally maybe a piece of work that you've, or a couple of pieces of work where you've actually applied that full process to it. So I guess around that, I would also say, you know, once you feel like you start, a good time to apply would be to, once you start to feel like you do understand, you know, the design process, and it starts to kind of sink in with you, and you know, you feel confident to an extent, although part of the internship is going to learn more about that. So yeah, but they always be looking and apply once you've got a portfolio that you're proud of, but don't worry about perfecting that, because it can actually slow down your application process, and it might be what they are looking for anyway.
Can I just add a tip for this? So once you start applying, most of the companies would ask you to do design tasks, and if unfortunately you're unsuccessful, you can add those tasks to your portfolio, so that keeps building as you go along. And that is great practice, because you're not thinking of a problem for yourself, you're given a problem, you're just thinking of solutions. And I think that's a very valuable skill to have. So yeah, just keep adding them to your portfolio.
And I suppose, Jack or Jingyi, you've just been through this, right? You've just been applying for internships really recently. How did you find managing it? Like, was there anything you did to keep stress levels down, or were you just not stressed probably anyway, unlike me a couple of years ago?
Jingyi, you go first. Oh.
You're muted, Jingyi.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So when I was preparing for my portfolio, I was just putting all of my university projects together. So it was not that stressful, but I mean, no matter what type of projects you've been doing, those are really valuable pieces of work. And also I was kind of very proactive into different competitions, especially design competitions, and also design-a-thons or hackathons, if you've ever heard of that. So those are kind of quite quick exercise you can do just in 1 or 2 days, and then the experience you got from there will be valuable as well to add them to your portfolio. So I think, yeah, as long as you can put some, you know, great portfolio pieces of work into your portfolio, then you should be proud of yourself because you made that. So yeah. And another thing I would say is trying to practice on how to present your work, because when you present your portfolio to the interviewers, you have to think about the way how you present them, not just putting things together, but also think about as a UX designer, how you would tell a story around your project. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can move on. I can't believe how quick the time is going. I guess what's to say? Time flies when you're having fun. So okay, we've got a few more questions. I think there's a really good. Well, I keep saying they're really good. They're really good. Probably let's do the one from Jennifer. So aside from portfolio and experience, like what are the soft skills and other sort of attributes that I think they put you'd look for in an internship? I guess like in general, like what's are those sorts of skills that are good to have? And yeah, I guess this is something that's often a little bit overlooked as well, right? Because it can often be all about the portfolio. So yeah, this is quite interesting.
I really like this question because I feel like that is it's a big part of transitioning from an intern to a junior level, is that you just develop a lot of soft skills, you know, through experience of working within teams, building software. So what are, if I just remind myself of the question, what are some of the attributes you look for? So I think good communication skills are always very helpful. It is really important, you know, as a designer, and when you work with teams in a very collaborative role, to just have good communication skills, and storytelling skills as well. I know it sounds a bit like, wait, what, storytelling? But oftentimes, you know, you do have to bring your team in on the journey that you might have went on, or you need to take them on to go from, you know, a problem to a defined and delivered solution. So I think those are things to work on. I often, is it are hard skills like the defined as like kind of like like learning the tools in the software? I think they are. If so, I always think the soft skills, things like collaboration, communication stuff, are actually the hard skills personally. Those are the things that have actually taken me a lot of time to develop, and just I felt like I could really get that through you know, internship and junior level experience. But yeah, those are just things to bear in mind. You know, how can you improve your skills as a communicator, as a storyteller? And I think they'll be really helpful in a lot of aspects of your work. For example, at Redgate, you know, we don't, and in a lot of other product design roles, one of the surprising things, at least for me, was that you don't just sit around all day creating wireframes and doing research and sitting in Figma and making nice animations. You have to do you know, a lot of presentations and design advocacy within the business. And again, those are things where good communication skills and storytelling really do to help you out. Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah, just to add to what Callum has said, it is one thing being good at a tool, but I think it's important to actually solve a problem. You know, I work with great designers who are very good at Figma or like Sketch more than me, but I think the core principle of a product designer is to find solutions to problems based on research. So I think that counts as a soft skill because it's not tangible, but yeah, I think just having the ability to look at something and figure out what's the best way to solve it is something which is very important.
I think one more, sorry, around collaboration as well. So as a product designer, you'll find that you're not only just working with other designers, you start to work with engineers, product managers, technical leads, product marketing managers, all sorts of different roles. And again, it's really important to develop, I think, just kind of foundational collaboration skills that will help you work with those people when it comes to doing that. So yeah, that's something to expect, I would say. It again depends where you work, but it's quite common as a product designer to have to collaborate with other types of professionals. So yeah, it's good to work on those collaboration skills.
Okay. Oh, I can just see the Mandar reply. Okay, that's all good. I was catching up with the chat, but there is.
I thought you missed that question.
Oh no, I probably have, I'm worried I have missed some, but anyway, that's all good. I hope that helps. Oh, Gina, I wanted, there is one for Jack from Chris, which is like, how did you find your move down from Dundee to Redgate and your internship? I guess especially like amongst all of the wonderfulness that is COVID and sort of lockdown. So. Definitely not wonderful. It's really awful. But yeah, how did it go?
Yeah, in terms of like logistics, I was extremely lucky in the fact that I had family down here that can that put me up for a bit. So that was super smooth. I also just moved on a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, Redgate have been extremely accommodating and encouraging to have us in the office if we wish to choose to do so. And I'm kind of one that enjoys being in the studio or in the office. So taking full advantage of that's been really, really great for my kind of own development and getting to meet people. Also, one of the great, I was going to say best, but it was probably one of the best benefits about Redgate is the canteen. They provide wonderful food every day, and that gives people a great chance to kind of socialize and just enjoy their day together. So yeah, it's been great so far, and yeah.
Good answer. Yeah, I think yeah, we can't deny lunch is good. It's good. It's nice though to just see everyone, isn't it? And just sort of have those social interactions again that we've missed out on for the last 18 months, let's say, or probably longer. I'm not sure what month it is by this point. But yeah, I suppose how we do time. Okay, so we could probably just we could fit Chris's question in, I reckon. That was a mouthful. So I guess what's the most surprising thing about working, like kind of the working world versus studying, and like how did you overcome that, or how did you handle it, and what tips would you give others to prepare for it? Like, I guess what do you wish you'd have known at the start that would really help you along that journey? Who'd like to start with that one? Go on, Mandar. You can
Put me in the spot here.
Okay, or someone else. It's all right.
Yeah, someone else has an answer. I think I can just say this. I think when you're in uni, you're expected to remember a lot of things, but whereas when you're working, you're kind of used to doing the same things, and you don't really need to know a lot of things. You just need to know things in detail. And if you're trying to learn something new, you can of course go and learn that. But I want to say most of the stuff which I learned in uni has come in handy. And I guess that's just because I've just started a few months ago. But sorry to disappoint you, Chris, but my uni did a good job in teaching me what to expect. But yeah, the only difference I find is you don't have to remember a lot of things. It's just that the things which you're doing, you need to do it well. So yeah.
I would say as well, like around things to know. And this one it took me a while to really understand this, but I think being comfortable and transparent around the things that you don't know as well. So as someone new to a business, and especially early on in your career, you really want to prove yourself, and you just want to make a good impression, right? That's natural. I think over time you realize that there's a lot of value in being very transparent with your team about things that you haven't got much experience in, or it's slightly newer to you and you're still learning about that. It sets expectations within the team, and I think it helps them support you as well in areas that you actually need support with. I suppose the reason I say it's surprising is because I just wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected to kind of come in and be seen as the person who knows exactly what they're doing. Maybe that's me being naive, but it really has been reinforced from day one, especially Redgate, that it's okay not to know things. You're not going to know everything, and that's especially when you're starting out, there's a lot to learn. So it's just about being comfortable with that, and just kind of recognizing that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just to kind of reiterate what was both said there, it's just, at the end of the day, people are just people. And I had this big image in my head of what it's like, the transition from education to working is going to be a massively weird jump, and I'll suddenly have to be all professional and know what I'm on about half the time. But it's a learning curve. The whole life's a learning curve, isn't it? It's all the same. It's just people are nice. Don't be like scared to reach out to people on Twitter or LinkedIn. Like designers, we have to be able to communicate. So there's really not that big a jump, and everyone's making it up as they go along. And to some extent, everyone's kind of winging it and learning together. So it's been a great experience, kind of that transition.
Yeah, apart from communication, I feel another thing would be quite important is time management. When I'm doing the real work, I find out meetings are filling up in my calendar, and you need to find your focus time, and you need to adjust to that type of flexibility, because you have so many projects going on at the same time, not just focusing on one project. I think that's the biggest difference that I find from education, because when I was in the university, I primarily just doing one big project at the same time. But when you're at work, you kind of have so many things. So I think time management should be one of the biggest learning I got from Redgate from this internship. So yeah.
Yes. A good point. And I do want to add this point because I remember doing this, and my pal's doing this as well around time management. I feel like at uni, it's very easy to take your work home with you and to work, you know, late into the evening, on the weekends, on projects, going for a coffee. And you want to try and, I personally think you should try and avoid doing that when you're working, and you don't want to be taking the work home with you. You want to have kind of your own time just to relax, you know, enjoy doing your own thing. And that is, yeah, it's, again, time management helps with that. Also, good management within the company helps with that as well. You know, and support and mentorship helps with that. But it's something to bear in mind, is that I think after uni, that's, if it is a habit of yours, which is quite common amongst students, it's probably something that you want to ask yourself, that should I be doing this? And then, sorry, I'm just mindful of time, got one more. And it's kind of around time management as well, but just like prioritization, you know, getting good at prioritizing things. That's such an important skill for a product designer, and that applies to, you know, time management. It applies to, you know, the work that you do and your input within the team around work that you're contributing to. It's a really important skill to try and develop. You know, getting good at prioritizing things. You'll find it creeps into the role more than you probably would expect when you first start working as a designer.
Yeah, these are all such great answers. For me as well, I've said this in, like, I think one of my biggest hurdles is my confidence, like beyond all like the communications and things. Like when you're at uni, like I was my best critic for myself of all my work, but when you're in a working environment, like you've got to stand up for your ideas, and you're working amongst a team, and like Callum said earlier, you really got to advocate for design. So you've really got to be like, believe in what you're doing, and have confidence in what you're doing. And I guess there's lots about imposter syndrome and things, and I think I found it hard. I still do. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I suppose one last question, I think, is did Redgate hire all Dundee grads? There's a few nods. Not me and Callum.
Not me. No.
We're from Norwich University of the Arts. We did the same course there, to be fair. So
we are interested, you know, in hearing from as many people as possible. So
definitely.
I will mention. So, yeah, it's not exclusively Dundee or
yeah. Okay. So I'm just very conscious of time. Does anyone else have anything else they wanted to add to any of the panelists? Or... No? Okay. We can oh, did I didn't see anything.
I just have one last thing. Someone earlier asked what are soft skills? And I just said that prototyping and stuff is not like a soft skill. I just want to rephrase that and say that UX is more holistic, you know, and UI is just a part of it. You have to be good at UI, and to be a good UX designer, it's like, you know, saying like, oh, if you say I'm good at UI and UX, you're just saying that, oh, I like watermelon and fruits, whereas what you should really be saying is watermelon is a fruit. So UI is part of UX, and problem solving, UX is problem solving. So, you know, it's not just like you need to be good at designing stuff, you need to be good at solving problems. So someone just messaged me saying, like, can you clarify on that? So I just wanted to clarify on that. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, I reckon we should wrap up because I've got 5 minutes. And yeah, it's been so great to hear all of everyone's thoughts, and thank you so much for everyone's questions. There's just a few things to share at the end, so we'll do that. Okay, someone's gonna have to like give me a heads up as well, but I've shared the right screen. It's all good. Cool. Okay. We've done this. We're out of time for questions. So yeah, just want to share like a little bit of information before we all sort of go. So I guess not that one, we're getting ahead of myself there. We're always on the lookout for speakers. So I guess if you like wish to talk at one of these events, or kind of know someone who's really passionate about a certain topic, kind of related to UX, sort of the roles of UX and UI design, or kind of a self-development topic, I suppose. So I guess like even just on the note of like what I was on about with my confidence and stuff, like something like that sort of thing. We would love to host you. So I guess we also we really especially welcome those sort of kind of first time speakers and friends of underrepresented communities. So I guess if you're, oh God, I keep flicking backwards and forwards. That's not good. So I guess if you're interested in speaking, then the best method would probably be to kind of get in touch through Twitter or account, or you can contact one of us from this meetup community. And then you can also follow us on ingeniously simple. You can follow us on many sort of platforms. So we publish Medium blog posts, and we're on Twitter, all the things basically. We're on Twitter, Twitter and Instagram. Our meetup recordings, I think Divya, you have to check, like they usually go on YouTube, don't they? So there is sort of lots more resources. And we also have some podcasts featuring topics on engineering, product development, design and research, all that jazz. So I guess the last thing to say is a huge thank you to Callum, Mandar, Jingyi, Jack, and also Divya and Spalton as well, because I know you do a lot of sort of work to sort of get this all up and running. So thank you for kind of putting this together and giving us some of your time this evening. I think that's pretty much everything. And thank you as well, everyone, for asking such amazing questions today. I think hopefully there's lots you can take away from here, like tips and guidance. And we hope that we can see you again soon at the next meetup. Yeah, keep an eye on Twitter, I think, for kind of some of those updates. So yeah, thank you ever so much again. Give our speakers a clap and everyone coming, and then we'll leave it there. So I'll stop sharing.